Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is part 1 of What If Naruto Was a Pervert in Highschooldxd. If you guys enjoyed this what if, then comment, like and subscribe. Let's go. Also, the video goal is 10 likes, so let me know that you're interested in the series and you want the next part. Then go ahead and check out the other what ifs in the channel. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and leave. Also share the video with your friends and link in the description. So let's go. Quick disclaimer before we start the video. Hey guys. This video is just a heads up. I'll be posting one more video this week, as my college classes are taking up more time than usual. Whatever you'd like to see, just drop it in the comments, and that will be my next video before my schedule gets too busy. I'll do my best to fit it in, and I really appreciate your understanding and patience. Thank you so much for your support, and let's dive in. It was the end of the war, the Fourth Shinobi War to be precise. It was a long and gruesome war. A lot of lives were lost. Right now the shinobi had won against the freak army. Yeah, they were freaks, I mean zombies, plant man and snake dude, but lost a lot of lives. Against all odds they won, all thanks to Naruto. He played a major role in defeating most of the tough opponents. Sasuke did too, but he came in late and he was fighting for his own reasons. Also, he tried to kill all the other Kages but got his ass kicked by Naruto. In this one they didn't lose their hands because Naruto didn't hold back from the beginning. So here we are with the shinobi celebrating their victory. Well, not everyone was celebrating. Two people stood facing each other with various emotions running through them. They were Naruto Uzumaki and Tsunade Senju. The reason being a secret event that was about to happen. You see, only two people knew what was going to happen, but it didn't make it easier. Naruto was tired of this world and he knew that once the war was over they would come after him for various reasons. This is why he took the deal that was given to him. A certain goddess approached him and told him that there was going to be a war in the shinobi world. She also told him that he would play a pivotal role in the war, but after that then what? She offered to take him to another world, meet new beings and be well Naruto and cause chaos. The challenge was that there was a bet placed upon him that he was strong because of his high chakra capacity, so if they sealed it off along with the tailed beasts he would be reduced to nothing but a scared human. The goddess told him that they will give him certain abilities to use in the new world together with a decent amount of magical power to start with. If he proved himself, his old abilities will be unlocked. They will seal most of his chakra and left him with that of an average genin, which will not increase no matter how much he trained. He agreed of course, and when he told Tsunade he got chewed on big time. But now the time had come to say goodbye. He didn't want anyone else to know until he was long gone. Yes, he did make some friends, but those that he considered true friends were outside the village. He had already written letters to them explaining the situation and promised to come and visit as he was allowed to travel through the dimensional gap. After a tearful goodbye and a bone-crushing hug, Naruto left, giving one last look to his mother. Not that he told her he considered her that, before he disappeared into a portal that opened up. The elemental would not hear of Naruto Uzumaki for some time. Goddess Domain. Naruto stepped into the goddess domain. It was a semi-dark misty place with black and white tiles, a white chair, a small white dresser and another wooden chair. The place was like a void with a few stars and it was very quiet. It was the sort of place one would like to go to enjoy some peace and quiet. This is the place that she resided. And there she was seating on her chair looking all holier than thou. This was the goddess Aqua, a blue-haired beauty, but a closer look and one would see that naive bratty look. In other words, she is a total ditz. Oh hello Naruto, I see you are here, she said in a melodic voice. Yeah, I am here, so what now? Naruto replied in an impatient voice. Oh yeah, here are the skills you will have, but there is a problem, she said in a nervous voice. What now? What do you mean there is a problem? Asked Naruto with narrowed eyes. What the hell was going on here? Well, someone changed your destination and abilities. They said it would make it more challenging than the place we wanted to send you, he. She laughed nervously as she handed Naruto a paper with a list of skills and their details and the destination he was going. We wanted you to go and beat up the new Devil King that sprouted up after the other one was defeated by Kazi Trash. And I wanted to give you a holy weapon too. Kazuhu now. What the hell? What's with these skills? They are trash and they make me look like a total pervert, even worse than that perverted toad. My rotten luck. Naruto slumped to the ground as he imagined what Tsunade would do to him if she found out that he turned into a mega pervert. He studied the skills he had. The Jade Dragon's sacred gear. Made after the sealing of the Jade Dragon's Arcanis. Abilities. User blasts a powerful aura that damages and destroys clothes and armor. It has a power-up ability that activate if the user eats clothing, preferable women's undergarments. Fuck me. Steal. It's a thief skill that lets the user steal an object as long as the object is not carefully guarded or the user is skilled enough to bypass security. Naruto's brow twitched violently as he read what he got. It seems he got screwed big time. He read and reread again until he noticed something in the fine print. His prankster mind started running a million miles per minute as he could see the possibilities that came with these skills. It seems the one who chose these skills did not see the true extent of the skills. He started to cackle like a madman. Well, he is to be a pervert then fine, but the one who did this to him will pay dearly. But something caught his attention. The play he was going had humans, but it also had devils, angels and fallen angels. Those were not what concerned him. No, what caught his attention was the minor race, yokai. Maybe, just maybe, this was the place they came from. Maybe he would meet up with his daughter and their descendants. He would have to do some investigations to make sure he was correct, but he hoped he was. Aqua just looked at the boy who was laughing like a maniac. Okay, I will go. Aqua blinked, then blinked again. She cleared her ears to make sure she heard correctly. Let me make sure I hear you correctly. You want to go with these skills? She got a short nod before some weird circles appears below Naruto before he was slowly lifted up. Aqua came and hugged him, weird, before she did something and whispered in his ear which caused his eye to widen as he disappeared. In a world riddled with war and death, where three main factions rule certain areas, we find extraordinary beings that scare the living hell out of anyone at the mere mention of their names. Among them were Albion the White Dragon Emperor and Jade the Red Dragon Emperor. These two were rivals who constantly fought. They were well known for their destructive capabilities which left wide-scale mass destruction. There were two other Dragon Emperor known for their unique abilities, but the first two were well known, especially the sacred gears they reside in. But what most people didn't know was there was another Dragon Emperor out there. This one didn't like fighting but chose to terrorize humans just for the fun of it. He didn't go out to kill, no, he was more of a prankster whose victims were usually females. He loved how they reacted, so he took a human form and terrorized the female population. But his fate was like the rest of the Dragon Emperors, being sealed inside a sacred gear. He wasn't angry about it, no. This gave him a chance to get in up close and personal with humans, to experience their day-to-day lives and their feelings. He was disappointed when he didn't get a human while others got theirs. He waited for many years but no luck. That was until he was assigned to this one peculiar human. From that time on he had the most fun ever and his name spread in ways he didn't expect. Kuo Park. Naruto appeared in what looked like a park from what he read about this world. He noticed it was late at night and also there was pain in his abdomen like he was stabbed. He looked down and saw a light spear stuck in his abdomen. Okay, what the hell? He looked around and saw a scantily clothed woman with black wings. Oh great, a fallen angel, just great, and he just arrived too. Behind him he saw a boy with brown hair who looked at him in fear of what happened to him. His mind started to piece things together. So the fallen was trying to kill this kid and he just happened to be teleported in the path of the spear. What was that stupid goddess thinking? She could have teleported him anywhere, like maybe somewhere safe or even in the middle of a lake was better than this. Goddess domain. Oops, my bad, said Aqua as she munched on some snacks without a care in the world. Back to the park. Well, this sucked. He was ready to explore this world, but alas, he gets killed the second he arrived. Who the heck heard of that? It's gonna be a joke to those jackasses. Someone was trying to get him killed. Unknown realm. A certain being sneezed before it went back to whatever it was doing. Back to the park. The fallen angel and Issei were surprised by what happened. Naruto thought the kid would make a break for it, but he just froze until he too was stabbed. Okay, that was stupid at its finest. His unintentional sacrifice just went down the drain. The fallen just regarded him before she took off. Naruto took out the spear and tried to stop the bleeding, but it wasn't working. His original abilities were sealed off, so no super regeneration from Kurama, and without his chakra he couldn't heal the boy and himself. As he fell down to accept his fate, he noticed a flash of red and saw a redhead girl with big boobs. From his position he got a good view of her. You know what, he. Bait him. His heart suddenly beat so hard he felt the urge to take that piece of clothing he saw. Okay, even when facing death, his perverted side is a result of his sacred gear activated. He noticed her doing something that he identified as turning the boy into a devil. He also felt that he wasn't dying as he expected before he remembered what Aqua gave him. He smiled before a plan formulated in his head. Oh, this was perfect. He wanted to learn more about the supernatural, and what better way than to join them. So he willed the item to not heal him as he waited for the girl to come to him. He knew devils loved humans with sacred gears, so this one wouldn't pass him if she sensed his sacred gear. And true to that, she came, asked if he wanted to live, to which he nodded. She took out a single pawn piece and placed it on top of his chest. While she chanted the incantation, he willed the item he had to temporarily accept the piece and make him into a temporary devil. The item had that ability, so it accepted the single piece, even thought he had a sacred gear. The girl looked surprised before she called another one that took him somewhere while she took the other one somewhere else. Looks like things were going according to plan. Next day, Naruto woke up from the best rest he had in like ever. He was in a bed that he could tell because of the blankets. He looked around the room, noting that it had a Victorian look and feel. It looks like that girl took him somewhere because they had no info on him. Well, he will have to cook up some story until he can trust them. Trust issues. He tried to get out of bed but felt someone holding onto him. The hand was soft and feminine that he could tell. Okay, what the heck? He was picked up by those girls. The next he was sleeping with one of them. What happened last night anyway? He could tell she was also naked, so does that mean they did the deed? If so, why can't he remember a thing? Did they use some kind of technique on him so he couldn't remember? He looked at the owner of the hand to find she was a beautiful black-haired girl. He also took note of some of her impressive features. What? He was a young hot-blooded teenager. He quietly got out of bed, found some clothes which he assumed were meant for him. He looked around the place until the girl woke up. They conversed a bit and he found out that her name was Akano and that she was devil. He already knew. Soon the other members arrived, a blonde-haired pretty boy, a cute white-haired girl and a beautiful redhead. Okay, what's with this dimensions and cute girls? He was positive that if he walked out of this room he would meet a lot of cute girls. They introduced one another and Naruto gave his story that he was a traveler who just was at the wrong place at the wrong time. He hit it off with the members of the other members. Kaneko, the monotone cute loli who likes sweets, Kiba the pretty boy, and Akano, the biggest tease in the world and secret sadist. They found him an apartment room to stay until he could start earning some money. He planned on writing some books, maybe recreate that pervert's books since he was turned into one himself. No, his books would capture the hearts of many, so he decided to write about his previous life. He got some material to start his literature to start on his first book. He even found a publisher and gave them the story idea, to which they eagerly awaited for the book. Then he met the other pawn who was worth 7 pawn pieces, which surprised him. He also found out that the kid was a pervert. Well, looks like the club now had 2 resident perverts. If only they could turn that shrewd pretty into a pervert as well, then all the guys of the club would join forces and terrorize the girls. No, he would rather keep his perverseness to himself or a select few and not tarnish his image. So they were given a rundown of what it meant to be a devil, which meant they first had to do what Naruto equated to D-rank missions. They were supposed to give out flyers and make contracts. This was a pain in the ass, but at least there was no equivalent of Torah in this dimension. The thought of Torah brought shivers down Naruto's spine. During the missions, Issei had trouble forming contracts while Naruto got a lot. They asked him his secret, but he just said it was a trade secret. Naruto cough. Also, Naruto was always hungry and he didn't know why. He ate a lot, but it did little to curb his hunger. It seemed that his body craved something, and until he finds out what it is, thinks were not good for him. All in all, Naruto had fun despite his constant hunger, making new friends, and he was surprised that he was getting attached. He somewhat missed the action, maybe a little. Fighting would liven things up. Oh, he got what he wanted. He met a nun whom he befriended, and when she got in trouble, he and his pervert friend went and rescued her. His friend leveled up when he evolved his sacred gear while he hid his. After the successful rescue, the nun joined their club and was turned into a devil as well. She lived with him as she grew close to him, which surprised him as well. Things were okay until he noticed something. There was something bothering Rias, and it seemed the rest of the original gang knew about it, but the newbies didn't. It started off when Asia grew close to him. When they had their moments, you know, those lovey-dovey moments, she would have this faraway look and a look of longing which was quickly hid. This went on for some time until Naruto confronted her. She told him that she was okay and put on a smile, but Naruto knew better. He was a master of faking and he could clearly see that she was in pain. She was only doing it not to worry the others. So what did Naruto do? Well, he used his ninja skills to listen in, eavesdropping, on the conversation between her and her queen. What he heard was shocking. It seems she was engaged to someone, and from the way she talked about him, she didn't like him at all. So she was in an arranged marriage, a forced one at that. That wasn't good. Since they were low-class devils, their opinions didn't count, so it meant they had to fight the jackass that made her sad. From what he could tell, she hid it for some time, years from what he gathered. So that's why she wanted sacred gear users. This was to help her get out of that contract. It stung they were being used, but he understood. The girl was desperate, and any desperate person would do whatever it takes to reach their goal. So he quietly left as he devised his own plans. Being used or not, Naruto was a sucker for damsels in distress, so he went to uppy training. Physically he was good, so he focused on magic and evolving his sacred gear. He also devised some countermeasures in case things went south, so he asked for some material from the underworld. This was just a backup. The main plan was simple: beat the shit out of the jackass. Oh, that dude was gonna pay big time, and by the time he was done with him, high class be damned, his reputation would be dragged in the mud. Mwahahaha. It has been a few days since the revelation about Razor, and Naruto threw himself into training. He wanted to get as strong as possible so that he wouldn't have to reveal his trump card so soon. Because he had very low chakra, he opted to master genin level jutsu, which were useful for his fighting style. Also, he was happy that he could do tree walking and water walking. These were useful skills in the future. He then went on to sealing, which was an art he didn't divulge much into, but because of his low chakra, seals were the most viable options since most of them didn't take too much chakra. On physical training, he made gravity seals for himself, and right now those seals were up to insane levels. This was to increase his speed and strength. He was also focusing on getting reacquainted with the sword to sharpen his sword skills. Most of his techniques were lost because of his inability to access more chakra, but maybe he could reinvent them using magic. He also started building profiles for the peerage, and what he found was not encouraging at all. Yes, the peerage had powerhouses, but it was also a nest for unresolved issues which held back most of the team from their true potential. This was mainly directed at Kaneko and Akeno. Rias was a good king, but she was weakening her fighting force by not properly training them and resolving their issues. Honestly, if this keeps up, those issues will have issues which will become an issue that would need an army of shrinks to deal with them. For now, he focused on himself at the moment and his own issues. He activated his sacred gear, but it also awakened several problems. First was the hunger, which seemed to be unquenchable. Next were his perverted tendencies, which seemed to occur at random intervals. He tried to control them, but sometimes he would unconsciously do stuff only to wake up in unusual positions. This was really starting to bug him. What if this happens when he is at school, or worse, during an important meeting? He so sorry dude, it's gonna happen a lot. I mean, he woke up in Asia's room sniffing her panties. Luckily she was out. Which leads to the last problem, his obsession with undergarments, especially panties. Whenever he is close to women, he always has the urge to want to see or take their undergarments. That's the reason why these days he put too much weights on his hands, and said hands stayed in the pockets. Well, today was the day that jackass comes. How does he know this? Well, simple. Rias paid him a visit last night. She wanted him to take her virginity. Oh, he wanted to very bad. He just wanted to ravish her until she couldn't walk and finish it off by eating her panties. Every fiber of his being was screaming at him to take her. Even his angel conscience seemed to have been corrupted by his dark side, had a flag with the words, "Bang her," cheering him on. But by sheer force of will he declined, because one, he wanted it to be special, not because she wanted to taint herself to get out of a contract, and two, Asia was in the next room. So here we are. Naruto was heading the club knowing the jackass was there. He could feel his presence. The guy was strong, that's for sure. It seems that he is not just all talk. Note, he didn't lose his sensory abilities. He was late for the meeting, but he had to prepare to piss off a certain someone. Occult Research Club. Rias was not having a good day. She was going to come clean to the new members of her peerage but was interrupted by Graphia, who told everyone that she was engaged. The new members were surprised, of course, except for a certain someone who was late. Then he came. The person she hated the most. Razor came and demanded she sit next to him before he decided to be all touchy-feely with her. She just wished something would happen to save her from this situation. Then the door opened and Naruto came in holding some packages, wearing a stupid grin which faltered a moment when he saw what was happening between Rias and the soon-to-be dead guy. So he decided to take the first step to pissing him off. Grinning like a madman, he went straight for Rias. "Rias darling, how are you today? Sorry I am late. There was this black cat that crossed the road, so I had to take another route which also had another black cat. It's bad luck to cross where a black cat crossed, I tell ya." Everyone's sweat dropped at the stupid excuses he made. Who would believe that? That person has to be an idiot. "Yeah, I know what you mean, man. I did that this one time and we got beat up for peeping 5 times that day," said Issei. "Okay, so there are some idiots who would fall for that." The look on Asia's face showed that she agreed too. "Okay, maybe not idiots but naive and gullible." Naruto reached Rias and did something that shocked the whole room, including the Ice Queen, whose eyebrow twitched very violently. He lifted Rias and made her sit on his lap. Issei was crying anime tears and Asia seemed like she actually wanted to cry but was comforted by Naruto winking at her. Rias was surprised and blushing and Razor was pissed big time. Evidence, the room temperature increased by several degrees. "Hey moron, what are you doing that my fiancé?" he shouted. "Who does this idiot think he is? Taking his property from him?" Inwardly Naruto smiled. Step 1 complete, now on to step 2. "Oh hey, I didn't know we were having a party," Naruto said in a cheerful manner, totally ignoring Razor, which pissed him off even more. Era no Naruto-kun, we are not having a party. What gave you that idea?" Akeno asked. She was glad he came and did what he did. It threw Razor off balance and gave Rias time to cool down. "Okay, not cooling down judging by the steam coming from her ears." "Okay, so what's with the overgrown chicken over there?" Naruto said while pointing at Razor. Again everyone froze as they stared at Naruto like he was crazy. He just called a high-class devil a chicken and the dude was right next to him. Razor was now pissed off. No one calls him a chicken and gets away with it. Before he could do anything, however, Graphia interfered. "Please stop antagonizing Razor-sama and you Rias-sama, control your pawn," said Graphia with authority that left on objections. Everyone immediately calmed down, but the look in Naruto's eye told everyone that it's not over, oh not by a long shot. Now that everyone was calm, Razor addresses the elephant in the room. "Hey, who are you and what are you doing to my fiancé?" he asked with an angry look. Naruto looked at him with a bored expression before answering, "I am the amazing Naruto Uzumaki and Rias here is my lovely king. As for what I am doing, well, it's a pawn's job to make sure that every need of the king is catered for, he. You know what I mean, don't you?" The laugh came out as perverted, which caused Rias to blush at the connotation of the statement while Razor fumed even more. Outside it was okay, but on the inside, oh shit, panties. Panties. They are so close I can smell the virgin aroma coming from them. "Okay, hands, calm down and don't do anything stupid, please." Naruto stood up and took out the packages he had. The smell hit everyone's noses and it was a nice well-fried chicken. He started passing it along to his friends and when he got to Razor he almost gave him some before withdrawing. He took a separate package and gave it to Razor. The dude opened it up and his brow started to twitch violently. It seems this Uzumaki kid was trying to get under his skin and it seems to be working. "What the hell is this?" he demanded as he threw that package away and looked at Naruto with wisps of flames licking out of him. "It's bird seed, what do you think?" answered Naruto as if it's obvious. You could hear muffled laughter from the members of the ORC when they realized what Naruto was actually implying. "I know it's bird seed, you idiot, but why did you give it to me? Isn't it obvious? You can't eat your kind after all. What are you, a cannibal? Plus I think that's your cousin Larry in there and you don't want to eat your cousin, do you?" Oh man, it's so easy to piss of this guy. Perhaps he should add some bird puns to the mix. Nah, what he has is enough to piss him off. Little by little Razor was losing his cool. This no-name punk was making fun of him and his family. He just wanted to kill the brat, but with the strongest queen in the room it would spell disaster for him. So he went back to trying to convince Rias to accept their marriage. Rias kept shooting him down, saying that she would fight the contract if it's the last thing she does. On the sidelines, Naruto was initiating a conversation of his own with the others. Hey guys, I just realized something, phoenixes are birds, right? So is it ideal to call this guy a bird brain? Naruto asked with a confused look. Fake, of course. Issei cracked under the pressure and burst into laughter. Oh man, ahaha, that's a good one. Bird brain, classic man. So of the others joined, even the monotone Kaneko was laughing even if she tried to hide it. MMMH, do you guys know what's one of the most pathetic creatures is when it comes to courting females? A rooster. I mean, look, it makes its advances and it gets shot down. So what does it do? It chases the female chicken until it gets what it wants. It actually forces itself upon the hen. Dude, a rooster can run when it wants to get some, and that's absolutely pathetic to me, commented Naruto as he stared at Razor, making sure the guy heard him. Said rooster, I mean. Razor looked at Naruto and growled. Are you insinuating that I am a rooster? Oh, did I say that? I didn't say that, but the situation proves my point. The girl is refusing you and you are chasing her, trying to force her. To me that's rooster character if I have seen one, Naruto said with a grin plastered on his face. To be honest, he liked this new attitude of his even though it had its issues. It's so fun pissing people off. Razor decided it was enough and told Rias that she would marry him whether she liked it or not. He really wanted to get out of here before that pawn made any comments that would make him do something he would regret. And why is Graphia not interfering when that pawn insults him? Rias refused, of which Graphia said that the issue would be decided by a rating game. Razor went on to call his entire peerage, which showed he had a complete set of which all of them were female. Issei cried anime tears, saying that his dream was already taken by another person. Rias looked actually a bit shocked when she saw that they were outnumbered, and so were most members of her peerage. Graphia looked at the situation with a critical eye. She could see the uncertainty in Rias' peerage. She wanted to see how that loudmouth was reacting, but was surprised to see him grinning like a madman. She knew he would make another absurd comment. Ha ha ha, you see, I told ya he is a rooster. How many roosters stay in a chicken coop? Answer 1, because he boots out the others or makes them submissive. He then claims all the females as his own. That's just like this guy over there, classic rooster move by making an all-female peerage. Razor wanted to boast, but the kid drained that out of him. Every move he makes, the kid finds a way to insult him. Hey, don't insult our king like that, shouted one of the lawless there as she tried to defend their king. Naruto held a contemplative look as he looked at the peerage. You know, I also just realized something. If the clan inherited the phoenix healing ability, maybe they also inherited a few bird traits, you know, like the 5-second rule when it comes to mating. I heard the record for longest mating time for roosters was 9 seconds, and that was only because it spent the first 4 seconds trying to get it in, Naruto commented again while flexing his pinky finger, insinuating that something was very small. This served to piss of Razor and his peerage even more. He was basically insulting every male of the House of Phoenix. It was a man's pride, and this guy just insulted that. Before they could react to defend their master's honor, Naruto continued. So let's see. 5 seconds for 15 girls equals to less than 2 minutes. So a 2-minute sex marathon. That's kind of pathetic if you ask me. And you want to condemn our king to give up her freedom for 5 freaking seconds? Hell no. You son of a... Rias, Razor is going to give you 10 days to prepare yourself for your defeat. And you, Uzumaki trash, I am going to enjoy crashing you to dust. Razor finished as he looked at Naruto with all the hate that he could master. Naruto just gave him a thumbs up, showing he didn't care at all. With that, Razor left, but not before Naruto was subjected to some ki from the female members of Razor's peerage. The ki didn't bother him, he faced worse. With them gone, a new problem occurred, and that was Naruto. What was wrong, you ask? Well, he basically turned into a chibi with his eyes glazed and a stupid grin on his face with drool coming out of it. Think of Aladdin from Magi when he pervs on girls. Asia knew what was happening. He was having one of those uncontrolled perv moments. It happened a few times at home before he explained it her. That's why most of the time he slept chained to the bed, and Asia kept the key until the morning. Sometimes it was so bad that he would drag the bed before he got stuck at the door, and all the while he was unconscious. Naruto started to walk like a zombie towards his target, Graphia. Asia called everyone to stop Naruto before he does something stupid. Graphia just rose a brow at this. She was the strongest queen, the boy won't get near her. So all the peerage members tried to dogpile him, but he literally and inhumanly wormed his way out of that as he dodged all of them, leaving then to eat the ground. With insane speed, Naruto found himself in Graphia's valley of bliss between her boobs before he started to play with them as he buried his face between them. Again, think of pervy Aladdin from Magi. Graphia froze when she found herself being played with. She hadn't expected the boy to move so fast or how good she felt when he played with her boobs. Please note she is not married. The other members just froze as they saw Naruto coping a feel on the strongest queen. Graphia tried to get Naruto off her, but the dude wouldn't let go. When she got him off, he would just quickly come back again like he was being attracted by a magnet. Issei just mumbled lucky bastard before Naruto shot past him and was embedded into the wall. They looked and saw an emotionless Graphia with a frosty fist extended forward. She turned around so no one could see her blush before she addressed Rias to prepare for her match, then she left. She left a stunned group and a Naruto who was just waking up from his perv moment. He felt like King Kong just beat the snort out of him. He only asked one question when he realized what might have happened. What the heck did I do? After Naruto's shenanigans, Rias told everyone to go and rest up and that the next day they will go to train somewhere. The place she said they would train was a private island that had a house which was top-notch. Naruto honestly wondered if he would also buy a house like this far away from civilization where he would stay free from the hustles of the modern world. So here we are, the group was assembled in front of their king where they were strategizing. Rias admitted that they were at a disadvantage against Razor. First, he had a full set while they were 8, so they were outnumbered 2 to 1. Next, Razor had experience in the raiding games while they were novices. This was their debut and they were going against someone who lost only twice. Naruto listened to the others as they talked back and forth planning their training and how to take down Razor. The dude was the biggest threat because of his regenerative ability and power, so they had to find a way to neutralize him. He sighed. What he was going to do would open a whole can of worms. They took him in and trusted him and he hid staff from them. Maybe it was time to come clean with some things, not all. Okay guys, listen up. At this everyone looked at Naruto. He has been quiet for some time, so maybe he thought of something. Razor may have the advantage, but so do we. Please reserve your questions for when after I am finished, okay? First, he thinks that he will be going against Rias in strategy. Well, he is dead wrong. He probably has a profile of us, especially Rias and Akino, since they are the biggest threat and their skills are well known. So I will come up with the strategy to beat them. Secondly, he is going to treat this like a game, but we first, this is war for our survival. He might have experience in this game, but we have someone who has experience in war. Lastly, he made one mistake. He has an all-female peerage. We have 3 guys with us, so for our plan to work. So this could work to our advantage, he. Everyone was quiet as they digested what Naruto said. Naruto could see that they were noting some things that he said and he knew that it was time for his big reveal. Naruto, I have noted a few things that I would like clarification on. First, who here is experienced in war? Rias asked with narrowed eyes. She found it weird that there was no record of Naruto anywhere, so here was her chance to get some answers. Me, of course. Who do you think I meant? Naruto said before he went on to tell them that he was not from this dimension but from another. He explained everything else, leaving out the part that he now houses all tailed beasts. He was very vague on the full extent of his power, even though it was sealed away. He also explained to them about his sacred gear, which was the origins of his perverted tendencies. After his explanation, everyone was shocked at what they heard. Here was a boy their age and he had already participated in a war. He was a freaking war hero. Kaneko was interested when she heard he could use chakra. The weirdest reaction he saw was from Rias. The girl had stars in her eyes as she squealed while looking at him. Suddenly she was in front of him going full on otaku mode. You are a ninja, right? She got a nod. Please say it. Naruto looked confused. Say what? You know, nin, she said as she made a weird hand sign and a weird pose. What the hell? Is that what those mangas portray ninja? We don't say nin datbeo. Crap. Naruto realized that he has said something stupid in front of an otaku. He thought he got rid of that verbal tick. Rias looked like she was in heaven as she started jumping while she shouted datbeo while posing in what she imagined was a ninja pose. Everyone looked amused at the situation Naruto got himself in. After 15 minutes trying to explain that it was a verbal tic not a ninja catchphrase, they continued. This time Akino asked, Naruto, you said that Razor having a peerage full of females is a bad thing. Why is that? Well, let's say the opposite side is full of perverts, what do you think will happen? Let's say they have a technique that strips them off their clothes, what do you think will happen? Everyone could see the logic in what he said. Women don't want to showcase their bodies in the rating games where almost everyone could see them. That would be a nightmare for them. We have 2 perverts here, soon to be 3, said Naruto as he gave a thumbs up to Kiba with Issei mirroring him. Kiba felt a chill down his spine and wisely inched away from them. They will not expect us to use this to our advantage. It will catch them off guard, thereby eliminating the weaker ones before we focus on the threats. Let me tell you this here and now, this is a battle to survive, so I am not afraid to do whatever it takes to win, well short of cheating of course. Even though I don't like it, I am going to go full on pervy on them, he. The others looked at him like he was crazy. He made sense, but sacrificing one's dignity to win was a stretch. Now for training. For now I am going to focus on Kiba and Kaneko at the moment, but let me say this. Please, I know you have some unresolved issues among you. A few members flinched at this. But don't let that get in the way of getting stronger. All of you have potential to become strong, but your issues hold you back, so please don't hold back. He will have to deal with this himself. If Rias doesn't. But that will come after the match. Let's start, shall we? Rias and Akino, you are physically weak compared to the others, not including Asia. So we will work not strengthening your physical traits while you help Asia and Issei train in magic. The others nodded at the logic. They relied too much on magical power, thus they neglected to train their bodies. Kaneko and Kiba, you rely on the strengths given by your individual pieces. You neglect to fix the weaknesses of said pieces, hence your weaknesses are already known. We will work on increasing your strength for Kiba and speed for Kaneko while giving you some tips on increasing your strength and dodging skills. The 2 nodded when their faults were pointed out. It seems Naruto was good at this leading thing. They might just survive this. Rias felt a bit down. The training she planned seemed to be inadequate, and this showed that she was not doing a proper job as a king. Naruto simply took over and he was doing quite well. If they survived this, she would have to ask for advice from him and step up her game. First thing Naruto did was give them gravity seals varying according the person's body. Right now Kaneko had the most weight, followed by Kiba, then Issei, then Rias and Akino, and last was Asia. Next he instructed Kiba to cut down a tree with a bland sword by the end of the day, or he would increase the weight. The dude was having a difficult time moving as it is, increasing the weight would turn him into a pancake. He instructed Issei and the rest of the girls to run laps while they get used to the weights. Which left him with Kaneko. Okay Neko-chan, let's play a game called Dodge, he. Kanelo was looking forward to some training, but the Glit Naruto's eyes showed a promise of a world of pain. Which was what followed as she was thrown into an obstacle course full of very painful and humiliating parry traps. Naruto looked in amusement as the girl tried to survive his course. He spotted and company before a thought came into his mind. Hey Rias-chan, do you know anyone with a natural affinity to water and is female? He shouted as they passed by while jogging, taking the time to appreciate those jiggling jugs. Issei looked, he was about to die of blood loss. Yes, why? She asked, confused. Oh, that's good. I am gonna need her panties. What? It has been a gruesome 10 days for Team Rias members, well most of them anyway. When Naruto said he would train them, they didn't expect him to outright torture them in the most perverted way that came to his perverted mind, for the girls at least. The training was productive nevertheless. Say what you will about Naruto, pervert, molester and whatever, but the bottom line is Naruto knew how to train a person. Rias doubted that they would gain much in 10 days. She had planned to focus on Issei and Asia since they were way behind in terms of combat while others did their own thing to get stronger. She on the other hand would come up with a strategy to defeat Razor. But Naruto threw that out of the window. The training he devised for them was most beneficial. If it wasn't for the fact that they had limited time, she was sure that Naruto would have brought the best out of the rest of the team. She was surprised with the improvement they had had. Honestly, the guy picked up on their immediate weaknesses and tried to fix them. Though it wasn't all the weaknesses, she surmised that the ones he fixed and the skills learnt were suited for the upcoming battle. On the girls' training he paid special attention to Kaneko since she was a fellow chakra user. The training course he put her through was perverted and horrific if not downright funny. Honestly, she tried to make Kaneko show emotion for years and Naruto made her show emotion on the first day of training. The course was meant for her to rely on her nekosho instincts rather than relying on her durability as a rook. The moment she stepped in the course she was bombarded by darts. Darts aren't a problem for a rook, but the fact that they were coated with some stranger electrical substance which increased a person's arousal was the issue. She could bulldoze through them, but the substance made her feel strange, to say the least, like she had a strange heat in her nether regions. Said technique is effective by touch and not by the method Naruto used. On touch it's instantaneous, but when using mediums like darts it's severely underpowered. It worked to his advantage in training, however. The more darts that hit you, even if they don't pierce your skin, the more aroused you are. Hence you dodge for your dignity or you would explode with pleasure when you reach critical levels. She found out the hard way when she got hit by too many of those darts. The poor girl was drenched between her legs, her eyes unfocused, and she had little control over herself. Naruto thought it best to end the session, which was a mistake because when he got close to her she pounced on him. He dodged of course, but the girl was persistent. Coupled with an out-of-this-world speed and strength and freaky cat agility she discovered in that state, well, let's just say Naruto got more than he bargained for. It took 3 hours of Naruto running full speed and dodging for the girl to tire and pass out. The others just looked on in amusement and jealousy, Issei and Asia, as Naruto struggled to evade the girl and control himself. It seems the scent of drenched panties did wonders for his self-control, he. Well, it was his fault for not explaining after all. After the fiasco, the girl was so embarrassed he couldn't look at a male in the eye, especially Naruto. She started calling him Maelstrom of perverseness, much to Naruto's displeasure. He was not used to this new nature after all. So from that day forward the girl dodged those darts like crazy and her speed improved. That was until she was captured by the second trap hidden in the training course. A tentacle monster. Where the hell Naruto got it, not his familiar, we will never know. The monster was all touchy-feely when it captures a female, evidenced by its tentacles invading the girl's sacred place. Why this monster, you ask? Apart from the entertainment he got from the thing going all pervy on the girls, it taught Kaneko the art of dodging and defending from multiple angles. The girl got so good that it was like watching a seasoned shinobi waving through chaos while beating the shit out of opponents. He then taught the girl the basics of chakra control and channeling it to increase her speed and strength. This was a very bad idea because the moment she got proficient in it, Naruto found himself embedded in the mountain a kilometer away from their training spot. Ouch. As for the other girls, Rias and Akino got the same treatment as Kaneko but for different reasons. For them he wanted to see how their speed improved as well as their reflexes. So he threw the girls into the course. Of course the first few times were horrible for them and entertaining for Naruto. Honestly, tentacles, that's what he named the tentacle monster, had a field day with them. They knew about the darts so they were prepared for them, but Naruto had cautioned Kaneko not to tell them about tentacles. When they came face to face with the monster, that's when the entertainment started. Naruto and Issei enjoyed the show while Kiba just averted his eyes. Seriously, this guy's has an iron will. Tentacles seems to have a thing for Oppai from what Naruto could see with how he enjoyed running his tentacles over their huge jugs. Maybe tentacles and Issei were related in some way with how both were obsessed with Oppai. As for abilities, he focused on having them do defensive techniques and precision attack. The girls had strong magical power, but for their plan to work he needed them to conserve as much power as possible. He had Akino learn more water attack to counter flaming chicken. As for Asia, the girl wasn't a fighter, that much was true, but she was also a valuable member of their team. She was their healer. So he worked to increase her stamina and magical power. After that he told her to project her healing aura so that her comrades from a distance. By the end of the training days she could project her aura for about 1.5 meters. As for Issei and Kiba, he worked on their physical strength and speed. He spared with Kiba in swordsmanship to improve his already impressive abilities. He also had to beat that honesty out of him. That was for duels, not life and death fights. That kind of thing was definitely going to get Kiba killed. As for Issei, he spared within in hand-to-hand combat. The boy was pitiful, worse than him, but he had power, that's what counts. The boy also managed to evolve his gear and got a huge power boost and a cool attack. As for Naruto, he mainly focused on training his body and perfecting his techniques. For the plan it was there, and so was the backup and the backup of the backup if things went south. He had a feeling that the grilled chicken had something up his sleeve and it was going to be a pain in the ass. That's the gist of their training. Now onward to the frying of that stupid chicken. Kuo High. The gang arrived at the school, which was the place the rating game was going to be held. Naruto wondered if they perhaps had reinforced the school and put barriers to prevent damage. He thought that they would go to an arena of some sort and duke it out there. Well, he would just have to improvise the plan to suit the terrain. They got into the hall and Naruto's eye twitched violently. What the hell, this was supposed to be private event for the two concerned parties. So why the hell were there so many people? He looked at Rias, who looked equally as shocked as he was. The rest of the peerage looked nervous for some reason he and the two other new members didn't know. So why was Naruto not happy? It seems someone saw it prudent to invite a lot of people to watch the show. He wanted to humiliate Razor, and doing that would need him to employ some unsavory tactics. It would have been easy without this much of an audience. It would have saved face for Rias and her peerage with what he was planning. After this he was going to gain a reputation he didn't want. Yet, they walked into the hall and immediately they were the center of attention. It seems the rooster and his hens had not yet arrived. Now that he got a closer look at the guests in the room, it seems that they were very important people. Well shit, this wasn't good for the reputation of their peerage. Even if he and Issei take the full brand of the hit, it was going to reflect badly on the peerage. So the introductions began, and the more the introductions went, the more depressed Naruto got. It seems Rias' family was there, the fried chicken's family was also there, but worse, the 4 the freaking Mao were here to watch the show, and worse, the big shot was Rias' brother. There was also the Citree family and the president of the student council. What the hell was she doing here? Note they weren't told about her and they haven't gone to the familiar forest. There was also Saraorg and his peerage and this other chick in her peerage. He didn't like her arrogant look or how she put down Rias and belittled them, so he didn't bother to recall her name. There were other families available who belonged to the 34 pillars. I want to go home. Naruto sulked in the corner with dark clouds hovering above him. Asia was trying to comfort him the best she can, but the depression was too much. Finally it was Akino who brought him back. Era looks like you are depressed. I know what would make you feel better. We are going to have a nice big barbecue when the chicken comes. So why don't you put your game face on, or do you want the chicken to call you a chicken? At this, Naruto miraculously revived with fire in his eyes. The onlookers were amused at this. Never, I am going to fry that chicken, Naruto declared with determination. Rias and the rest of her peerage smiled at this. Looks like their trump card was back. That's one mean chicken if he wants it so badly. Hope we can join them when our son wins, said Lady Phoenix as she looked at Rias's pawn. Oh, if only she knew who the chicken was, and by extension her he. So to pass the time, Naruto manipulated everyone present into betting. The odds were against them, that was clear with how many people betted against them. A few betted for Rias. All the while Naruto held a contemplative look on his face. Are you not going to bet since you are the one who started this? Rias asked as she saw the unsure look on Naruto's face. She would have thought that he was sure they would win. I am the luckiest person in all dimensions when it comes to gambling, so no one, even if they cheat, can beat me. What I am worried about is the result of the match. I am sure that someone is going to meddle with the match, so the result is less desirable, Naruto said as he went to place his bet. Rias was now worried. If Naruto wasn't sure if they would win, then they were in trouble. She waited for Naruto to place his bet before they head to the rest of the gang. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I bet that the match is going to end in a draw, and I am placing $1 billion on that. Naruto announced. ... What? Was heard in the hall. This guy was betting on a draw when projections show a clear loss. And he is betting $1 billion on that. With that much money, 90% of the occupants took the bet, even the Mao. For the Mao, Naruto prohibited them from placing money, but a signed document saying that if Naruto wins they would do something for him. Rias and gang were shocked that they were likely to end in a draw, but what caught their attention was the money he placed. Where did you get that much money? You had 0 when you got here, so how the hell did you get that much money? Issei shouted. He knew Naruto didn't have anything when he came here, so how did he get that much money? The others wanted to know as well. Well, I started writing a book about my life story. It was published about 3 weeks ago. When I checked my account today, this is what was in it. Glare from Asia. Okay, I also did some gambling and cleaned up some casinos, said Naruto as he showed them his account balance from the phone he had. Everyone was shocked. Naruto was now a billionaire just from one book. And when did he gamble? That's insane. They would have to get a copy of the book. I saved some autographed copies for you guys. I just got caught up in a lot of things and forgot as he scratched the back of his head. A few minutes later, after waiting for a while, the team KFC finally arrived, led by Razor in all his arrogance. The guy seemed so confident in his win that it unnerved Naruto. One look at the guy and he could tell that something was wrong. For one, the guy seems to have a lot of hidden power than he had 10 days ago. It seems the plan was going to be changed again. That's a pain. Razor greeted the guests and revealed that he was the one that invited them to watch the show before they went to the wedding ceremony being held after his win. He approached Rias in her peerage and told her that she still had the chance to spare herself of the humiliation, to which Rias shot him down. Gotta give the guy points for persistence. So Naruto decided that before the game starts he would have to enact part of his plan. First part, piss Razor off. So Drumstick, are you ready? He asked with a grin on his face. The rest of the audience were confused as to the name given to Razor. Drumstick, what is he, a chicken? If only they knew. You have a big mouth, do you? Well, I am going to shut it up permanently, Razor replied with a cocky smirk. Whatever you say, KFC. But thanks a lot, man. You literally brought an all-you-can-eat buffet, said Naruto as he looked at the various girls Razor brought while licking his lips. This sent a shiver down every female's spine. Whatever this boy was planning wouldn't bode well for the girls. Razor just huffed and left with his team as they were teleported to the stage. Sona approached Rias and said good luck. Rias made the mistake of saying that Sona had an affinity to water. She totally missed the glint in Naruto's eye when he heard that. So Rias and her team left for the teleportation circle, but Naruto hung back to talk to Sona. The team stepped into the circle before they heard a panicked Naruto shouting. "Teleport us now," shouted a panicked Naruto as he pocketed something and he looked like he was running for his life. Behind his was a very scary, very pissed and very flushed Sona who was chasing after him, but if you looked closely she was running funny. Her strides were limited and one hand was holding her skirt. "Give it back, you thief, so I can murder you," she shouted. Naruto jumped into the circle and they were teleported into the arena, leaving a very pissed off Sona who left with her queen to get something. The rest of the guests were confused. It seems Rias picked a very weird pawn. The gang was teleported to the battlefield, to which they discovered it was a replica of the school, as Rias explained. Before they started strategizing, Rias turned to Naruto with a scary aura about her. "What did you do to Sona?" she asked in an all too sweet and too dangerous voice that promised pain and agony if the answer was not satisfactory. The game be damned if the answer she got was not satisfactory about what he did to her friend. She would eliminate him herself. Naruto started to sweat bullets. He chuckled nervously as he answered. "Ha ha ha, I took the other key to our victory from her. Please don't kill me." Rias just sighed at Naruto. She had an idea about what he took, but how did he do it in a room full of people without anyone noticing it? "Okay, Captain, what's the plan?" she asked Naruto. Since he said he would plan, she left the commanding seat to him for now at least. "Okay, step 1, piss Razor off is done. Step 2, get the key to our victory is done. Now on to step 3, leave Rias to plan." "What? I thought you were the one with a plan," shouted Rias. This plan of his was confusing her. "Yes, I do have a plan. But for it to work we must make it look like you are the one who is planning. He has info on you, so he probably has been looking into how you think. So let's give him that. But we will put a little spin to it," Naruto said with a predatory grin. Honestly, for someone who claimed to be an idiot in his home world until recently, he was a genius, if not an evil genius or the devil himself. He is making the enemy think that they are facing an enemy they know, but it was the exact opposite. The moment the enemy thinks they are about to win, that when they will discover it was all a trap. So Rias came up with the plan to advance into Razor's territory while defending theirs. They would intercept Razor's team in the football field, the gymnasium and the hall. Razor will try to sneak some of his pawns so that they will get promoted. Rias will intercept those. It was a good plan according to Rias, but it was a defensive plan which needed some editing. "Okay, I get the plan. But what I want you to do is fight not to win. What we need is to take them out at the same time. So we lure them in the field where we can try to take most of them out. What we need is not to waste our power until we fight Razor, and trust me, from what I can tell, it might take all of us to beat him. So when you engage, fight them, piss them off, then retreat. After that, leave the rest to me. And remember, don't eliminate any of them, we need them until they serve their purpose. Okay, this was a crazy plan. What the hell was he planning to do with those poor girls? Okay, what about the pawns looking to be promoted? This time it was Akino who asked. If he wanted all the girls not eliminated, what did they do about those pawns? Let them get a promotion. The more power they have, the better, Naruto replied, as if it was not a matter of concern. The others looked at him like he was crazy. What the hell does the enemy getting more power make it better for them? They were now starting to reconsider letting Naruto lead this operation. Now let's get the show on the road, shall we? Naruto declared with a maniacal grin plastered on his face. Okay, now they were almost feeling sorry for those poor girls. Guest viewing room. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome this prestigious rating game. In the blue corner we have Team Rias. And in the red corner we have Team Chicken, I mean Team Drumstick. What the hell is wrong with the announcer insulting our son's team like that? Asked a very angry and somewhat embarrassed Lord Phoenix. Note, Graphia is not the announcer. I don't know. I wanted Graphia to do the announcements, but this guy insisted, answered Searsex. He found it weird that this guy insisted on being the announcer, but he didn't pay that much attention to it. Graphia stood to the side of her king, but her attention was on the rating game, specifically on a certain someone. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, in the red corner we have Team KFC, fuck. Oh, Team KFC, I like it. Way to introduce our son's team, said Lady Phoenix with a smile. Many people sweat dropped at this. "Oh, Lady Phoenix, how long have you visited the human world?" asked Seraphol. "About 200 years ago." "Why?" she asked. "Well, KFC is not a cool name at all. It means Kentucky Fried Chicken, he, answered Seraphol as she laughed nervously. Lady Phoenix processed what was said before she blew a gasket. "What? Who has the audacity to insult my son like that? They have to be killed in the most painful way possible," shouted a now flaming Lady Phoenix, who was being held by her eldest son. "Sorry, I meant Team Rooster, I mean Rooster. Damn, what is wrong with me? I think I am now starting to see a connection here." This was Akuja, the smart one. "Oh, and what is it?" came a sleepy voice from a very sleepy looking fellow. "The theme is chicken. So he is refereeing to Razor as chicken, and by proxy the rest of the clan too. My guess is someone did something to the announcer, otherwise the announcer wouldn't have said something like that." Akuja deduced the situation. Who in their right mind would insult the Phoenix clan? Did they have a death wish? Replica Orc. "What did you do to the announcer?" Rias asked as she folded her arms while glaring at Naruto accusingly. "What make you think I did anything?" Naruto asked, putting on an innocent face. All he got was a deadpan look telling him that they didn't believe him. "Okay, I placed a genjutsu seal on the announcer. It's nothing major, it just confuses those with a weak will for a while. It won't be effective against strong-willed opponents." "And why did I do it, you ask?" "Well, to further piss of our meal. Now I think it's time we fry this chicken, don't you think?" Hehehehe. Replica New School Building. A certain fried chicken was pissed after hearing a few jabs from the announcer. He knew that that blonde pawn had something to do with this. Oh, how he wanted to burn that smug look off his face and enjoy his screams. But no need to end the fight quickly now. It's fun to see those insects try to put up a fight only to fail. It only makes his victory that much sweeter. How dare he insult us, Razor-sama. After we win, that announcer is going to pay. A blonde-haired girl with her hair tied into two drills, one on each side, shouted. Oh, she knew that the announcer just stomped on their pride and they won't let him get away with it. Oh, and that cute blonde bastard pawn too. Wait, what? He is not cute, he is the enemy. But those whisker marks make him look so adorable. Oh, shut up. Oblivious to the inner thoughts of the blonde. Don't mind him, sister. I suspect that it's that blonde bastard that orchestrated this, Razor stated as he claimed his sister down. Okay, we have our plan and we have the advantage. We are a full set, meaning we outnumber them, and also we have experience with these games, so our victory is guaranteed. We will counter their strategy while we sneak in 3 pawns into their territory. Once they are promoted, we will overwhelm them until no one is left standing. So don't hold back, and if anyone gets their hands on that blonde pawn, make him pay. Hi, was the answer he received before his peerage got ready to deploy. Replica orc. Rias and the others were ready to put their plan in action even though it sounded weird. They had decided that they would make traps around their territory to keep the pawns occupied while they handled the other part of the plan. No need to tip the enemy off that the pawns got promoted on purpose. Although many of the team doubted this was a good idea. Why in the hell is it okay to give their enemy more power when they were outmatched and outnumbered? The only explanation they got was, "You will see." So Akino went out to set traps while the rest grouped themselves. Rias was with Asia as she was to protect their healer. They were to remain behind in their base until the appointed time to join the battle. Akino was to hold the enemy queen off as long as she can. Kiba was with Kaneko and Issei. They were to intercept the enemy in the gymnasium because it was a strategic point and the enemy was bound to send some powerful forces there to secure a foothold. Their aim wasn't to gain that strategic position but to piss the opponent off so they chase after them. Then there was Naruto. His job was to hold the enemy at the sports field alone. Which was crazy, but so was he, well, to some extent. So this was the plan which their freedom depended on. This was their first raiding game which was watched by a lot of important figures. So they had to make a good first impression, yeah, good luck with that, and they had to survive. So no pressure there, he. Guest viewing room. It's about to start, guys. Oh, this is so exiting. Who would have imagined that Rias Tan's first raiding game would attract such a crowd? Go Rias Tan go! Shouted the ever-cheerful Serafal as she cheered for Rias' team. She was rooting for Rias's team even though the odds were against them. They were at a severe disadvantage, but as she learnt in the war they fought, there is nothing more dangerous than a cornered animal, or in this case cornered devils. The odds are against them for sure, but hope they will pull through. Plus I want to see how strong the holder of the Red Dragon Emperor is. This was the semi-battle maniac's comment, I mean Saraorg. When he heard that his cousin reincarnated a holder of a Longinus which also happened to be the Red Dragon Emperor, he got excited. He wanted to see how strong he was so that he could fight him someday. He is a guy who loves a good fight after all. Saraorg, Sona and the other chick, Sikvera, were all assembled in their own corner as they watched the game. These three plus Rias were considered to be the rookie four in the underworld. Some believed they would go on to become Maos in the future, so for them to witness the first fight of one of their own was a big deal. This fight seemed to be about a girl trying to earn her freedom, but it was more than that. It was about showing the world just how strong Rias and her peerage were and live up to the title bestowed upon her. If she lost then it would mean that their power was overestimated, and that would make the whole group targets, as many teams would want to get a piece of them, not that Saraorg wouldn't welcome the challenge. So again, no pressure. Sona was also worried about her friend. She was worried about the odds that were not in her favor, not to mention that Razor was powerful. Yes, she also has some good pieces, but they all had issues that were holding them back. The Red Dragon Emperor's holder was also a newbie and untrained, so he would cause little impact in the match. Even if by some miracle they take out Razor's entire team, they still had to neutralize him, which was easier said than done. All in all, Rias was screwed, and Sona could only hope that by some miracle her friend can win. Well, after that, Pervert got his ass kicked hard. After that, she was going to murder him in the most painful way possible for what he did. Just thinking about it made her blush, which was controversial to say the least. That tomato better not embarrass us, said a certain stick in the mud. Don't worry, my cousin will make it, Saraorg assured her, but received a snort in return. Everyone was looking forward to the match. The Mao were also eager to see the fight, although a certain tomato was now regretting not training his sister. Too bad someone was already doing that and would most likely be doing her soon. A shiver ran down his spine before. Never, I will kill that bastard, shouted Tomato Head as he stood up abruptly before he was forced to seek down by a punch to the head from his queen. Lucifer-sama, please behave yourself, she said in a monotone voice, earning a "Yes mother" from the pouting Mao. It seems Grafia still hasn't forgiven him for what he did and takes every chance she gets to beat the shit out of him. He still regrets that decision, but what's done is done. He only hoped that she would let it go, or it will continue to eat her up. What the hell, man? Ijuka asked, surprised by his friend's outburst. I just had a bad feeling someone was about to violate my precious Rias Tan. Nobody does that to my sweet sister and lives. So what do you say? Up for some hunting, old friend, he, replied Tomato as his features took a devilish look and a dark aura manifested around him. Everyone in the room had one thing on their mind. That's one hardcore siskin, although some did wonder why he didn't do that to the fried chicken. Somewhere unknown, a figure was also watching the rating games. This figure was shrouded in darkness so no one can see if it was male or female except for the structure which showed that it had a human body. It was looking intently at its screen, more specifically on Naruto. Now let's see what you can do in this situation. The one that escaped my grasp. Soon I will take you as payment, the figure said in a distorted voice, but you could hear the frustration and anger in its voice. Rating game. The games had officially started and everyone was doing their assigned duties. Team Rias was following through on the plan while Team KFC was deploying their counter plan. Akino was laying low waiting for the enemy queen to show while also monitoring the 3 pawns that had stumbled into their trap field. Rias and Asia were hanging back for now until the time was right. Team Kiba headed for the gymnasium while Naruto headed for the sports field. They were sure that Razor had divided his forces to intercept them at these specific points, which was what they wanted. The guests at first thought it was a good plan to secure the gymnasium since it was a strategic point that could give either side the advantage. What confused them was the grouping. Yes, it was good to send more numbers to the gymnasium, but sending one pawn to take the sports fields was kinda stupid. Sona was confused as to why her friend would make such a mistake since she was good at strategizing. A certain family of fried chicken was smiling, seeing that victory was assured and that the idiot that insulted them was going to get what's coming to him. Replica Gymnasium. Team Kiba, since he was in charge, arrived at the seemingly empty gym. Kiba wanted to hit and ambush the enemy, but suddenly the lights turned on showing that the enemy was already there and was alert to their presence. So the team decided to confront the enemy, and what they saw made them worried a bit. There were 3 pawns, 1 knight and a rook, and from what they heard from Akino, 3 pawns were trying to enter their territory. The queen hasn't shown herself yet, as well as the king, meaning those 2 were most likely at their base waiting to see how things go. So this meant that either the rest of the team were on standby while a small force was sent to Naruto's location, or replica sports field. Naruto just arrived at his destination, and when he saw what was waiting for him he only had one thing to say. Oh crud. Replica Gymnasium. Team Kiba prepared to battle the pawns Mira, Kira and Meru, the rook Isabella and the knight Karamine. Kiba would take the knight and Kaneko would take the rook, while the rest were left for Issei, who complained, but when he thought of Naruto's predicament he steeled himself. But not before muttering a not-so-silent prayer for Naruto. Oh, may the pervy gods receive my fellow pervert's soul as he will be sent to you by so many beautiful women, muttered Issei with tears streaming down his face. Oi, I heard that, shouted Naruto through the communication link. And so Kiba started off by challenging the pompous knight by exploiting her honor. He drew his sword while she drew a flaming sword and the 2 clashed. At first it seemed that they were at a stalemate as they matched each other strike for strike. Karamine decided to go for speed as she blurred out of existence, surprising Issei by the speed she moved at. She appeared behind Kiba and went for a vertical slash which was blocked, surprising her. Kiba just smirked. That hellish training Naruto put him through paid off. Karamine shook her shock off before she disappeared again and tried attacking from different angles, but was met with the same result, which frustrated her. She was frustrated even more when she noticed that her opponent was using just one hand and he was matching her strength while the other hand was in his pocket. This pissed her off, and a pissed off knight tends to make mistakes. Isabella engaged Kaneko in hand-to-hand combat. Both fighters were throwing fists and kicks at each other, which met in the middle, creating some bits of shock waves. Isabella then tried to use her height advantage to overwhelm the smaller fighter. But Kaneko used her cat-like agility to wiggle away and evade her attacks. This went on for a while, frustrating the Isabella as she couldn't finish her opponent for the glory of her master. Kaneko just kept her usual monotone face, making it seem like she was bored, which she was. This served to further piss off the opponent, who thought they had the advantage. Kaneko then did something that shocked those present, bar her team and the viewers. She moved at knight level speeds and punched her opponent in the face. Said opponent found herself embedded in the walls of the gym, seeing stars and other weird creatures circling her head. She wasn't knocked, but so she was still in the game, but this slowed her down for a bit. Her rook durability didn't do jack to keep her from taking damage. Oops, might have overdone it a little, we still need her. commented Kaneko as she looked at the battle Issei was fighting while she waited for her opponent to recuperate. Guest viewing room. Everyone was surprised by the show of skill Rias' team was showing so far. Did you see the speed that Rook moved at? That was night level speed, which should be impossible for rooks, commented one astonished guest. Most of the rooks from different peerages among the guests were impressed by Kaneko's show of speed and strength. They were all wondering what kind of training she went through to get this strong and fast. The knights were also impressed by Kiba's show of strength and skill. The conclusion everyone got was that these two were holding back way too much, and they were not even hiding that fact. The other members of the Rookie Four were amazed by the display Rias's peerage were showing. Sona was surprised the most. She knew they were strong from the occasional spars they had, and she knew that her pieces could match Rias. But this was a surprise to her. When and how did they get this strong? Saraorg was grinning like a madman at the show of strength his cousin's peerage was showing, and also at the prospect of getting a good fight. Seekvera just snorted at this. The Mao were also impressed Seerzex even more. From the training his sister's pieces got, they didn't show this much skill and strength. It made him wonder who trained them and how much they have grown. He only wished he had done more to train them and his sister like a proper big brother. Back to the fight replica gymnasium. Ah, what the hell is wrong with you? Poor Issei was busy running for his life from the twins wielding chainsaws. For cute girls that was kinda creepy to say the least. The other pawn Mira was also trying to smash him with her staff. Once upon a time he would have put his masochist abilities to the test by being whacked continuously while recovering miraculously. But this is the new Issei, one who was trained under Naruto. And the lesson that stuck the most in his perverted head was dodging. And so the pervert was wiggling through the girl's attacks in weird but effective poses. The pervert was effectively dodging staff and chainsaws in the most bizarre ways that even the enemy was surprised. "Hey, stay still so we can cut up," shouted a pissed-off Kira with her sister hot on Issei's heels. "Are you crazy? Why the hell would I do that? And you girls are supposed to be cute, not psycho-crazy chainsaw-wielding maniacs," Issei fired back as he dodged a strike from the staff-wielding pawn. This went on for a while, with Issei dodging and blocking the staff using his sacred gear gauntlet. The fight ended with Issei managing to break Myra's staff and tagging Kira on the shoulder. He then put some distance between them, all the while smirking like a maniac. "Now feel the wrath of my new technique. Dress break," shouted Issei as he clicked his fingers together and Kira's clothes were ripped to shreds, leaving her in her underwear. In the anime she was left naked. Everyone who was fighting stopped what they were doing in shock. "Ha ha ha, yes, I have saved this lovely image into my memory banks. Take that, Naruto-senpai. I have created the ultimate pervert technique," stated a grinning Issei as he ogled the almost naked girl who was struggling to cover herself to no avail. "Hentai Issei. You are trash," came the monotone voice of Kaneko while Kiba was profusely apologizing for Issei's behavior. "Hey, I will have you know I can top that, and is the girl completely naked?" Naruto asked through the link. He got a, "She is still in her underwear," then he replied with, "Good," which confused his team. Guest viewing room. There was absolute silence in the room until, "That just happened, right? Yap. Wake up, you jackass." Back to the fight. The enemy was now officially pissed off. This was evidenced by the KI that was emitted by the girls. The naked girl was the first to chase after Issei with intent to kill. "Guys, strategic withdrawal," Issei shouted as he took off, leaving a cloud of dust and teammates behind. Kiba just nodded to Kaneko before they both took off in the direction of the sports field. The pissed off girls abandoned their strategic position, which they conquered, in favor of pursuing the enemy, Issei leaving the position with no one to claim it. With Naruto. After he arrived at his destination, he discovered that the enemy was waiting for him. The number thought is what put him off. The rest of Team KFC except the chicken and the queen hen were not there. From what he could sense, they were still in their base of operations, which was good for him. By the time the chicken realizes what's happening, it will be too late to react. He. So he was dealing with one knight, one rook, two bishops and two pawns. The rook looked strong from the way her power was and the way she carried herself. So how to handle this? Well, he could instigate an all-out brawl with all of them, or take them on one at a time while he waits for the rest to fulfill their part of the plan. "Oh my, look at this, we have ourselves the rude pawn who insulted our family. Honestly, what was Rias-sama even thinking, wasting a piece on someone like you? Maybe she did it out of pity. You look like a commoner among the commoners, said a girl who felt like the fried chicken but weaker. So there is another fried chicken here and it's a she. Oh, this is so good. Hey miss, stick in the mud, I will have you know chicks dig my look. And beside, who are you to talk to me like that? If you want to go at it, be my guest. Naruto shouted back with fake anger. Oh, my apologies, I don't fight, and certainly not with commoners like you, she replied haughtily. Who said anything about fighting? I said, if you want to go at it, if you know what I mean, he. Naruto fired back with a pervy grin while wiggling his eyebrows. It took a few seconds for the girls to realize what he meant, which sparked that righteous female fury. I don't think it righteous among female devils. Oh, this pervert was gonna die slowly and painfully. Another Ki broke through the pocket dimensions barrier and settled on Naruto full force, although he was not fazed. He could only assume it's the girl's parents. The nerve of you asking a maiden such as myself to do that with you, stuttered the red-faced girl, which got Naruto to raise a brow. Before he could continue, the rook stepped forward. Miss, allow me to pummel him into the ground for you. This one was wearing a revealing Chinese outfit with a nice rack from what he could see. She sorta reminded him of 1010, so he dubbed her 1010 wannabe. Okay, so one at a time it is. The girl rushed at him with impressive speeds, her fists igniting in flames as she tried to hit him. The girl was good with her Chinese martial arts, and her flaming fists would have been a problem for most people but not him. So he was merely blocking and dodging her as he studied her while buying time. Said girl, Shui, was getting frustrated. He was only just a pawn with no sacred, they didn't know, so why was he being difficult to defeat? She decided to switch things up as she added a few kicks, hoping to hit the bastard. She got the desired effect when she nailed him in the face, eliciting blood to come out of the pawn's nose. She smirked as she tried to retract her leg, only for it to be caught in an iron grip, which surprised her. She tried to pull her leg, but the pawn wouldn't budge. The pawn slowly shifted her leg a bit upwards, showing his bloody nose. She expected to see anger in his eyes, but she saw made her squawk. The boy wasn't angry, and he wasn't even looking at her face. So where was he looking? Under her skirt, with pervy grin plastered to his face as more blood gushed out of his nose while her appreciated her undergarments. Ayah, squawked the girl as she miraculously pulled her leg away and got some distance while covering her undies. Her face was beet red from embarrassment. He, nice undies girl, you've got good taste. Now would you mind handing them over? Said a now pervy Naruto while he was making a bring them motion with his hands. Said girl took a few steps back while Naruto took a few steps forward. He would have taken more had he not been forced to dodge a blast of energy from the other bishop. Hey, wait your turn, I am coming for yours next, shouted Naruto while comically pointing at the bishop, who felt a chill down her spine. So the 5 enemies decided to attack at the same time while Sister Fried Chicken hang back. No matter what they did, that pawn seemed to get himself out of danger without a scratch. It was like he was just toying with them. Oh no, they fell for it, thought the bishop. Revel. He was this strong and he egged us on to think he was weak. And was he molesting her team? Said boy was having the time of his life, dodging and molesting the girls. He would wave through the attacks, lift up a girl's skirt, then peeked while holding his chin in a contemplative look. He would also appear behind a girl and start groping her boobs from behind her, smack her ass. Nice choice of panties, bouncy boobs and firm asses. Yep, Fried Chicken sure knows how to pick them, he. Now young lady, your panties, Naruto stated while looking at Shui with a pervy grin. In his head, please don't let Granny Tsunade find out or I am dead meat. Elemental nations. A certain big-boobed former Kage, after the 4th took back the chair, felt the urge to kill a certain blonde-head whisker-faced knucklehead. For what reason she didn't know, but what she knew was when he comes back he is so dead. She went back to arguing with a certain family and people about Naruto's location. Back to the molesting fight. It was at this time that Naruto's team arrived with the enemy hot on their heels, on Issei's. Good, it seems the plan worked now to test something before the final plan comes into play. Okay, maybe it worked a little too well with how pissed off they were. Get back here you pervert so that I can kill you, shouted an almost naked girl with a chainsaw, what the hell, chasing Issei. Senpai, please help me, Issei shouted as he frantically dodged the mad chainsaw twins. Naruto looked at Issei, then at the girls, then said, dude, if you didn't use a condom, can't help you there. If you took the wrong twin then you are screwed. If you took the wrong twin and didn't use a condom then you are on your own, man. What the hell are you talking about? They want to kill me for my perverted technique to rip her clothes off. Issei shouted before he tripped and fell down. Almost naked girl took this as her chance and went for the kill. Naruto, seeing his fellow pervert, please kill me, Naruto pleaded in his head. About to bite the dust, decided to use one of his techniques. His target, the chainsaw. Steal. Naruto shouted as he stretched out his right that a bright light blinded everyone on the field. When the light faded everything was normal. The girl still had the chainsaw in her hands but something was missing. Did his technique fail or something? He could feel that he stole something which was in his hand. He looked at Issei to see the dude almost about to pass out with a fountain of blood coming out of his nose. So Naruto unfolded his hand and what did he find? Some white panties and a bra. What the hell, the target was the chainsaw, not this. And where did they come from anyway? Ayah, cried the now naked girl as she squatted down trying to cover herself. She was now naked, the underwear she wore now in Naruto's hand. Said boy was grinning like a madman as he saw what was in his hands. Mwahahaha, yes, this is awesome, ha 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 ha, laughed Naruto as he had a stupid grin on his face as he waved the panties in the air. Think of Kazuma from Konosuba. Everyone on the battlefield bar Issei looked shocked. What the hell just happened? How did he take her underwear from way over there? You are the worst, Naruto-senpai, said Kaneko in a semi-shocked voice. I don't know how to apologize for that. That was Kiba as he bowed apologetically to the enemy who was in a frozen state. Now Issei, that's what I call a pervy technique. No woman underwear is safe from me. From this day forward I shall be known as every woman's worst nightmare. Give me back my panties, cried the girl. Never. Guest viewing room. Yes, that's how it feels, shouted Sona before she realized she did. She just hung her head embarrassed, but inwardly she was happy she didn't suffer from that technique in public. Just thinking about being stripped like that made her blush. Okay, where did that come from? Okay, that just happened, right? Yap. What the hell is wrong with Ria-sama's pawns? Those were the various reactions in the room. But you could see some men and women wiping some blood of their noses. Whether it's from seeing the naked girl or the prospect of using such a technique we will never know. Most of the women had one thought in mind: kill those pathetic pieces of trash. Replica Occult Research Club. Asia and Rias just looked at what happened and they were at a loss for words. When Naruto said that one of Razor's weaknesses was his peerage was comprised of 99% of its members being female, she didn't expect him to capitalize this way. She knew that it was almost every female's nightmare to be stripped in broad daylight, let alone in a huge event such as this. She didn't expect Naruto to go full-on pervy mode and molest and strip the girls. Okay, she expected him to come up with a strategy to embarrass them or something. What she didn't expect was for Naruto to outright molest them, and the plan hasn't even gotten to the mid part yet. And that technique. She thought Issei's was perverted, but this was a whole new level of pervy. Asia, did you know about that technique? Rias asked the girl. She spent more time with Naruto than anyone in the club, and to be honest with herself she was a bit jealous, especially seeing that Asia was developing feelings for Naruto. Yes, it's a technique that allows the user to steal anything as long as it's not too big or closely guarded. He practiced it by stealing fruit from the fruit bowl and other small things. When he tried stealing a knife from my hands, he took my panties. She said the last part with a huge blush as she remembered how she was stripped, or how Naruto almost went nuts from the scent of her panties. It seems that when it comes to women he only steals their undergarments no matter how hard he tries. For males it works just fine. Asia finished her explanation as they continued to monitor the situations that were occurring. Rias just nodded with a thoughtful look, but on the inside she was crying rivers of tears. Her first rating game, and everyone now thinks she has a weird bunch. Way to throw her dignity down the drain. Replica new school building. Wow, what a show, ladies and gentlemen, we got a feast for the eyes. Damn it. Sorry about that. One of Razor-sama's pawns has retired due to public indecency. Oh come on. Razor was pissed. No scratch that he was downright livid. He prided himself in his girls and that they belonged to him and only him. He was the only one allowed to touch them and strip them naked. Now these two buffoons just stripped one of his girls naked in front of every important guest he invited. To make it worse, that stupid pawn was molesting his girls. Well, time to bring out the big guns. You Belluna, go show them why you are known as the Bomb Queen, he ordered his queen to enter the fray. Hi Razor-sama, the Bomb Queen took off with the intention of blowing someone to bits. Back to the molesting fight. The members of Team KFC were in a state of shock as they saw that one of them asked to be removed after she was stripped naked. Their shock increased even more when they saw Naruto take the panties and took a huge whiff of the scent before he sighed in satisfaction. It sent a shiver up their spines. Ah, now that's the staff. Now for the rest of your panties. Naruto shouted with a crazed look. Razor's team composed themselves before all of them bar little sister Chicken decided on the way forward. Because there was no superior appointed when they were deployed and Razor wasn't communicating with them, they were left to their own devices, hence no solid strategy. So the girls decided to forget everyone else and eliminate the biggest threat on the field. Naruto. Naruto, seeing all the girls look at him with dark murderous auras, laughed nervously. Hey girls, what's up? He said bashfully while scratching the back of his head. The answer he got was the sound of a sword cutting through the air heading for his neck. He quickly ducked under the swing from the pissed off knight. Hey, you almost took my head off. Don't you know that swords are dangerous? Naruto comically shouted. He then dodged a flaming sword from the other knight. Before he could retort about sword being dangerous, he was forced to dodge an earth-shattering kick from the 10-10 wannabe. This was followed by the other rook getting in front of him, then threw a few punches which Naruto dodged. He jumped back to survey the situation only to see that all of the enemy girls were after him while his team seemed to be watching from the sidelines. What the hell? It seems they are all after Naruto-senpai, came the ever monotone voice of Kaneko, who was standing beside Kiba. She had reverted back to her default setting, but if you look closely, one of her hands was staying as close to her skirt as possible to protect her precious. Yeah, it seems so. Well, it's good they did, we can buy more time this way, replied Kiba. Guys, I need a little help here, shouted Naruto as he dodged some magic shots from the other bishop. All he got was a big fat no from Kiba and Kaneko. And Issei, what was he doing anyway? Ya go Naruto-senpai, I believe in you. Live the dream for us perverts. Issei cheered while he was holding a banner written, Go Super Pervert Senpai. Are you serious, Issei? And it's not super perverted mega pervert, Naruto shouted back while he blocked a flaming fist heading for his nuts. Hey, not there, I need those to them on someone. Naruto then back-paddled to gain ground as he surveyed the situation. Well, all of them were angry and it clouded their judgment. He could take all of them out easily, but he still needed a few items from them. Now to put the fear of Naruto into them. Okay, my turn. Ready or not, panties, here I come. Now give me them panties, and with that Naruto disappeared in a burst of speed, surprising everyone save his team. He then started to systematically fight his opponents, forcing them to huddle up in one place. With that done, seeing that they were all in one place except for the little sis KFC who was watching in shock from the sidelines, he just smirked. Time to test the upgraded version of his technique. Pervy style number 2 multi-steal. Naruto held out both his hands, much the girls' horror. A bright light shined before they could escape or react, and a few seconds later it was all over. All the girls that were victim to the technique felt liberated of something, especially those not wearing pants. Downstairs felt breezy all of a sudden, and those with huge jugs felt them sag. That's when they realized that they were all hit by that dreadful technique at the same time. None of them dare look to confirm what just happened under their skirts or in their pants. They looked horrified at Naruto to see him holding multiple articles of clothing they could identify as theirs. I asked nicely and you refused, so I had to do it the hard way. Oh man, look at this exquisite clothing, I am rich, Naruto shouted while throwing the underwear in a jade bubble before it disappeared. All the girls that fell victim to the technique blushed in embarrassment and anger as tried to recover their dignity. Give us back our underwear, you pervert, shouted Shui 1010 wannabe as she used speeds that she didn't know she could use. She forgot about everything as the only thing that mattered was beating the shit out of this pervert. She jumped into the air, delivered a spinning axe kick to Naruto, who seemed to freeze for a moment. The kick got Naruto in the shoulder, driving his feet into the ground as the ground cracked from the power of the kick. Shui smirked, but that smirk turned into a frown as she saw Naruto was still standing buried knee-deep into the ground. Well, look at that, such a nice heavenly shaved view. It smells so fresh and untainted by bird brain over there. I am glad because it smells so nice, so enticing, Naruto stated as he focused intently on a certain spot. When you are given a free show, any hit you take is worth it. The girl realized her mistake too late. She wasn't wearing any panties and she just gave him a free show. He had seen her with panties and now without, and how did he know that her master hasn't slept with her, and why was she blushing at him complimenting her unsullied state? She was grounded, that's for sure. If she was to fight, this meant no kicks whatsoever. On the sidelines, Kiba just didn't know what to say. Stealing a pair of underwear was one thing, but stealing underwear from 9 girls at the same time was just insane. And why was he keeping the underwear for? It making him look even weirder. Kaneko shouldn't hold her poker face anymore. Both hands were tightly clutched to her skirt as she was afraid she would suffer the same fate as the other girls. Issei was both crying and cheering at the same time. Crying because his senpai's pervy technique was better than his. He prided himself for developing the dress break technique, which to him was the ultimate pervy technique. To see the multi-steal in action made him realize that yes, he was perverted, but Naruto outclassed him by far. At least there was something to celebrate about. For the first time, pervy techniques were used in a real fight, and they were effective and a deciding factor in this fight. Yes, go Naruto senpai, make all the perverts in the multiverse, dead or alive, feel proud to have been represented. Issei shouted before he dodged a fireball from Sister KFC. It was at this time that all perverts across the multiverse, dead or alive, felt the urge to cheer for something historic that has happened. Revel, on the other hand, was at a loss for words. Her team was disabled by that pervy technique which limited their fighting power. It's a girl thing, I think. To make it worse, she was the only one left, which means she was the next target. As if reading her mind, Naruto turned towards her with a scary weird face. Think of Saitama's scary stupid face, the one he gave to the ground dragon in season 1. That look sent the shivers down her spine. This wasn't good for her. Suddenly a flash of lightning was seen across the sky, followed by an explosion. Looking up, everyone saw Akeno in her lightning priestess regalia facing the enemy queen. It seems the plan worked to draw out the enemy queen without the boss. Ubeluna wanted to take out all of the enemy in one attack, but their queen intercepted. It was like she was waiting for her. Oh no, they planned this all along to get them all in one place. Guest viewing room. Everyone was officially creeped out by Naruto except for a select few. If you put aside his perverted side, he is a good fighter. I can go so far as to say that he is just toying with them. Saraorg commented as he analyzed Naruto. He could see how easy Naruto evaded all those attacks and how he fought to get the enemy in one place. And he wasn't even winded, not in the slightest. He was strong, but he didn't want to show it. Those who heard Saraorg's comments and analyzed the fight were in agreement with him. It seems there is more to his perverseness than he lets on. Some could only see the perverted side of him. She is making us look bad even if she is winning. Their tactics are not fit for high-class devils like us, Sikvera stated as she looked on with a blank face. She wanted to see Rias prove herself that she was worthy of the title bestowed upon her, but with the way things are, that all went down the drain. Suit yourself, a win is a win. Would you rather face the pervert and prove your point, or will you end up like the other girls? Saraorg defended his cousin while Sikvera shivered at the thought of falling victim to that technique. Oh man, I feel sorry for those girls. Yeah, being stripped like that with an audience like this, it's embarrassing. Rias, parents could only feel embarrassment from the display of their daughter's pawn, while the KFC, I mean the Phoenix family, could only feel rage, especially now that their daughter was the target. With the Mao, yeah, go Naruto, strip those birds naked, Serafal cheered on. She wasn't disturbed by what happened to the females. Honestly, it was a nice change of pace from those bloodbaths they see most of the time. It was about damn time someone put a new spine to things. So yeah, where there is comedy, Sarah Tan is there to cheer on. Graphia just looked with her usual stoic face, but if you look closely you could see a ghost of a smile. It seems the Ice Queen was enjoying herself too. However, someone was having a bad day. Ha ha ha, look at that Searsex. Your sister's peerage is a unique one, that's for sure. Did you help pick those two or what? Did you teach them to do that? Ha 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 ha. Akuja laughed his guts out with tears in his eyes while Searsex hung his head in embarrassment. Rias is the sister of Amao and her peerage is weird to say the least. This would reflect badly on him and the family. And this also gave Akuja more ammo to use on him. Z. Wake up, you idiot. No, please don't wake him up, he doesn't want to see this. Thanks for the save, Aki-chan, Naruto shouted while he looked at Akino. You are welcome, Naruto-kun. Now let me deal with this pest while you wrap things up. Hehehe, you got it, Aki-chan. Now let's get on with the molesting, I mean fighting. Hehehe, slip of the tongue or not, it sent shivers down every girl present's spine. Akino went on to fight the bomb queen, who was gritting her teeth when she realized that all this was a trick to draw them in one place while both kings were in their bases. Or maybe the enemy king decided to attack Razor while they were all occupied in this battle. She has to wrap things up here and fast, but she knew it's easier said than done since Akino was known to be strong too. As for Naruto, he again turned his sights to his victim, Revel, who was now in the sky with her flaming wings. The girl seemed to have gained some confidence after their queen arrived. Well, time to scare the crap out of her. Before he could do anything, he noticed 3 powerful signatures heading for them, and fast. They were all queen level in power, to which he assumed were the pawn they let get promoted. Heads up guys, the pawns just got a promotion and they are coming for you. We are also heading out, came the voice of Rias from their comms. Rias then took Asia and they snuck past the enemies who were preoccupied with the battle and headed for Razor. They were just going to distract the chicken until the rest of his team have been taken out. Okay, time to accelerate their plans. Naruto took a whiff of air as he had smelt an aroma that only hung around girls from his club. The scent of a pure virgin. Not those that remove their own virginity, mind you. This was pure unbroken virgin. He had resisted with the girls from his club, although staying with Asia was making things difficult. This scent was driving him crazy. He looked at Revel with a grin and pointed at her Hashirama style. You have the scent of a pure virgin. A rare specimen indeed, and quite a delicacy. So, give me those virgin panties, shouted Naruto as he brought out his wings out and speed towards the shocked girl. Ayya, get away from me. Revel fired fireballs at Naruto, who dodged them all. Her eye widened as he got closer before she took off, flying in circles around the field while trying to keep Naruto as far away as possible. Come back with those panties. I want them now. No, get away from me, pervert, Revel shouted as she shot a huge fireball which collided with Naruto. She sighed in relief but saw a figure busting through the flames unharmed. Virgin panties. On the sidelines. Poor girl, she will be traumatized for life, commented Kiba while folding his hands. I almost feel sorry for her. Almost, came the monotone voice of Kaneko. You know, Kaneko, if Naruto-senpai is reacting like that now to that girl, I wonder what he will do to you when he loses self-control, commented Issei, making Kaneko shiver at what that pervert would do to her or the other girls. Back with the molesting. Yes, I said it, this isn't a fight, it's pure molesting. Revel was flying as fast as she could while calling for her brother. She saw the top of their base explode and saw her brother fighting Rias, who was being supported by the ex-nun. Rias seemed to be on the defensive by making multiple barriers to protect her and Asia from KFC's attacks. That moment of distraction cost her dearly. From behind her she heard Naruto whispered into her ear the word she didn't want to her, although it sent a pleasurable shiver down her spine from his breath that tickled her ear. Steal, and with that it was all over. The virgin panties have finally been liberated from their captor. The girl just sank into the ground while crying anime tears. She was embarrassed to say the least. A high-class devil, got her panties stolen with all those people watching, and worse, they were her naughty panties too. Guest viewing room. Everyone slowly backed away from the pissed-off Phoenix family who wanted to kill a certain someone. You could see the ground and some furniture catching fire or melting. Not to mention the key they were emitting, it was worse than anything they ever felt before, and that's saying something. Oh man, they are pissed. Back to the molesting. Razor looked on in horror at what happened to his precious little sister. He wanted to kill that boy, but Rias keeps getting in his way. He then smirks when he spots some figures coming to the field. Seems the game is about to change and that pervert is going to suffer for what he did to his property and his dear sister. Dude has a thing for his sister. Naruto beheld the black-laced treasure he had just wrestled a dragon to save. Oh, the scent was so intoxicating. It was so heavenly. Now that's some naughty panties you got there, Missy, and they smell so nice. Oh crap, akeno. Naruto shouted. He was so engrossed with the virgin panties that he failed to notice the attacks until it was too late. Akino was fighting the enemy queen when 3 blasts appeared out of nowhere from behind her. The voice from Naruto warned her too late as the blasts were already very close. Suddenly giant tentacles sprouted out of the ground and wrapped themselves around Akino before dragging her back to the ground, making the blasts miss her. Almost everyone was surprised by what happened. What the hell was that and where did it come from? The tentacles gently placed Akino down just as the promoted pawns rendezvoused with their team. Kaneko and Kiba just looked at Naruto with blank faces. How the hell did he get that thing in here? Kiba asked as he knew what that thing is capable doing, especially in situations such as this. Yes, good save Tentacles-kun. Akino's boobs are safe, shouted Issei to the monster, which growled happily at being complimented. It further turned red when Akino patted it while thanking it. What is that thing doing here? Kaneko asked as she shivered with flashbacks of what that thing did to her during training. Oh, it's my familiar. Naruto-senpai registered it for me and snuck it in here, Issei answered with a proud look. Guest viewing room. What the hell was that? Was the general question shouted by almost everyone. It's a familiar registered under Rias Pon Issei. It's legal, replied Akuja as he looked at the paperwork regarding familiars. How the hell did they hide such a thing and no one noticed? Man, did you see the speeds that Pon moved at? It's insane, dude, and he is a newly reincarnated devil at that. Back to the molesting. Nice work, Tentacles-kun. And will you look at that, more victims for me to play with, Naruto said as he disappeared again. Before the other victims had the chance to warn their fellow teammates. Steal. Too late. Naruto reappeared with their undergarments in his hands. He then started to parade them like a maniac before he placed them in the jade bubble where he placed the others before. The victims were in a state of shock at what happened, and what's worse was that they were all in one place. Big mistake. Rias seemed to be keeping the chicken at bay, but she was losing ground. Better take these guys out and fast before the real fight starts. Tentacle-kun now. Naruto shouted. More tentacles erupted from the ground, capturing all the girls, dragging them closer together and restraining them. The girls were caught off guard so they couldn't evade the attack. With them in one place, Naruto decided it was time to unveil his sacred gear to the world. He held out his right hand and a familiar gauntlet appeared. It looked like Issei's sacred gear when it underwent its second transformation, only that it was jade in color with a red gemstone. The others were surprised by this. He had told them that he had a sacred gear but was having difficulty awakening it. He didn't explain what its abilities were, just that it caused him to be a massive, a mega pervert. But now they were going to see it in action. Even the viewers were surprised by the reveal of a sacred gear that looked a lot like the Red Dragon Emperor sacred gear except for the color. Alright Zirconis, let's do this, Naruto shouted. You got it, partner. Naruto then took a stance, Dragon Slayer stance, and focused his energy into his chest. A jade-like aura surrounded him, going about 10 inches from his body as he sucked in air and puffed his cheeks. He then let loose his attack on those poor souls. Now take this. Ultimate pervy technique. Pervert Dragon's Roar. NB, it should be Jade Dragon's Roar. A huge beam of jade energy shot out of his mouth and towards the poor helpless girls. Try as they might, Tentacles-kun was holding on to them tightly so they won't escape. The energy beam struck its target and passed through them. When everything settled, the girls didn't look harmed, not in the slightest. With the power that the beam carried, everyone thought that it should have caused a lot of damage. Everyone just blinked as they looked at Naruto, then to the girls. Was that beam a dud or something? What the hell, Naruto-senpai? I thought it would have destroyed them like my dragon shot, Issei shouted comically at Naruto. Naruto-senpai's attack failed, came the monotone voice of Kaneko, which was laced with a hint of amusement. Wait for it, 3, 2, 1, and voila. Ayah, came the collective screams from all the girls. Now this is what I call a pervert's paradise, hehehehe. Thank you for listening. I do hope you guys enjoy. If you guys enjoyed this, what if you want a next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below and turn on the bell notifications, and also check out the other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.